Hi everyone, welcome to the demonstration video for homework 1, part 1, where we are going to be talking about how to download the required software for the class on the computer that you're going to be using this quarter for your homework assignments. The first step is to install Rhino if you don't have it already. And you can skip this step if you are using the Gold Computer Lab because Gold Computer Lab has Rhino. We're going to be using Rhino to model our 3D geometry of our thermal energy models. And I will be using Rhino 7 in the class, but you can use Rhino 6, 7, or 8. I will accommodate all of those versions. So if you don't have Rhino, you can download it by clicking on this link here. It'll prompt you to download Rhino 8. You can download a one-time evaluation for 90 days for free. So definitely take advantage of that if you haven't already. The next step is to install Ladybug Tools 1.7, Open Studio, and Energy Plus. Ladybug Tools is a plugin for Grasshopper in Rhino, which is going to help us package all of the inputs for energy models, and it creates the energy model that is then run through Open Studio and Energy Plus, which are the simulation engines that are created by the Department of Energy. You can skip this installation step if you are using the Gold Computer Lab as well, because the Gold Computer Lab has these installed already for you. But if you're using your personal computer, you can follow these steps to install these. The first step is to make an account with a website called Pollination by clicking on this link. Pollination is a website that was created by the people who created Ladybug Tools, and it has a pretty quick step installation process that allows you to download all three of these programs. So I'll click here to demonstrate how to do that. So this brings you to the Pollination website, and you create a login account first. This is required to download the software by clicking up here in the upper right-hand corner. Then it prompts you to create an account with your email address. I'm just going to continue with email, but you could continue with the Google email account if you have one. I'm just going to continue with email. And then if you haven't created an account already, I think it'll ask you some more information than it's showing here to create your account. So go ahead and do that. I'm just going to hit next and sign in. And this is what it looks like when you're signed in. You see your little username at the top. So you could pause this video and create that login account right now. So after you're done creating that Pollination account, you can go back to the homework instructions. And here I have a link to download the installer for those three pieces of software. So when you click on the link and you're logged in, the page should look like this. In the Grasshopper box down at the bottom, you click here, download for free. And the software is free. So that will download for you. And this is an executable file. I'm going to show it to you in my downloads. It should look like this for you. And it will install this software on your Windows computer. This will not work for an Apple, which is why the course software for this class is not compatible with Apple computers. So if you have an Apple laptop, you'll need to use the Google computers or run Windows on your Mac. So I'm gonna double left click on this executable to run it and click here on more info, and it'll show you who's trying to install something on your computer, and we'll hit run anyway. And that should bring up the installer box. And you can just keep hitting next basically to install. So hit next, this is where it's going to save. That's a good location. And after you hit next, you'll see that it's going to be installing pollination for Rhino 7. In my case, I'm using Rhino 7. If you're using a different version of Rhino, make sure that there's a check mark next to that version. Gonna left click on next. Can read the agreement and accept. Hit next. And this is the step after you come here where it starts to install. I already have it installed on my computer, so I'm not going to hit next, but you can hit next here and it'll start to install. And it takes about maybe 5 to 10 minutes to install. You also want to make sure that you have Rhino closed if you have it open. And I think it'll something will pop up if you do have Rhino open to close it. So while that's running, I'm gonna want to abort installation process. Yes. I hit that because I already have it installed, but yours should be running right now. So yeah, you could pause this video and come back to it when pollination is done installing. So now that you have downloaded and installed pollination, which installs these 3 things, and you already have Rhino, we can move on to this step, which is installing a plugin called Human. And it is a plugin for Grasshopper. And what it does is we're just going to be using one component from it, which allows us to choose items quickly from a list. It's called an item selector, and I'll talk about it more in class and in other homework assignments. It's a pretty simple feature, but it's really handy. And the way that we're going to install it is by creating an account with a website called Food for Rhino. And Food for Rhino is a website that has a lot of Grasshopper plugins that you can download. So we're going to go to Food for Rhino by clicking here. And when you come to Food for Rhino, up at the top, you'll see an option to register if you haven't already. If you already have an account for Food for Rhino, you can log in. If you don't, you can click on register and you put in your information to register. It's free to register, and then you create an account. After you're finished doing that, then you can log in up at the top here. I'm gonna log in, and then you should see your username pop up. When you're done with that, then you're ready to actually download Human. So the Human plugin. I'm going to click on this link right here, which is going to take us to the Human page. This is the page of the Human plugin. And down at the bottom, you'll see versions, different versions of it. Each line of these is a different version. And then you'll see download buttons. You can also navigate to different plugins to download by, I'm going back to the Food for Rhino page. And at the top, you can just search for the plugin. So I'm typing Human, saying search. This is the Human plugin that we want. And that takes us to the same page. We are going to be downloading this Human for Rhino 6 version. So make sure you're on this line and hit download. And you should see that a Grasshopper assembly file was downloaded. It's showing up as green on my computer, and it's called human.gha. After you download it, right click on it, go to properties, and select down here at security, select unblock and say apply. Okay. So now that you've downloaded this Grasshopper assembly file, which basically installs the plugin for you, and you have unblocked it, then going back to the homework instructions, you move this human.gha file to your local Grasshopper components folder. This is one method of installing Grasshopper plugins. So the Grasshopper components folder is located at this address, c.users, your username, app data, roaming, Grasshopper libraries. So I'm going to copy this path and I'm going to make a new folder. My username on this computer is Teresa FM. Oops. And I'm going to hit enter. So now I am at the location of my libraries, my Grasshopper libraries. You could also navigate to this folder by going to C, users, your username, app data. This is a hidden folder, so it might not be visible if you aren't displaying your hidden folders. App data, roaming, Grasshopper, oops, clicked on the wrong one. Grasshopper libraries. Now I'm going to just move this human.gha file into the libraries folder. So I just clicked on it, held the left click, and dragged it over. You could also copy and paste it over. And then just double check that that blocked security thing isn't here. That was there before and we unblocked it, so it's not there anymore, which is good. So this installs the plugin for you. It's pretty simple. So that is how you install Human. And then we need to also install a plugin called TT Toolbox 1.9. And what this does is it exports our data into Excel from our energy model. So to download TT Toolbox, we're going to click on this link. And you should be logged in still in Food for Rhino. You scroll down, and we want TT Toolbox version 1.9. Because the earlier or the later versions, the more recent versions, these ones have some bugs in them, and I've found that this one works the best. So we are going to, and don't worry that it says it's only compatible with Rhino 4 and 5. It works with the later versions of Rhino too. Going to download it by clicking this download button. And that is downloading. I'm going to view it in my downloads, and I'm going to do the same thing I did before with the Human plugin. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to select properties and then select unblock, hit apply, and say okay. Next, I'm going to unzip this. So I'm going to right click and say extract all. And it doesn't really matter where you extract it to. I'm just going to extract it straight into downloads again. I'm going to replace the files in this destination because I already have it in here. Okay, here it is. So, oops. Oh, here we go. This is what I just downloaded. So this is what the TT Toolbox folder looks like inside of it after you unzip it. And you'll see that inside of the TT Toolbox folder, there's TT Toolbox 1-9. There's another TT Toolbox folder. And then that has some Grasshopper assembly files and these other .dll files. We're going to go into the TT Toolbox _1-9 folder. And we are going to move this entire TT Toolbox folder into our libraries. So our Grasshopper libraries. So this is my Grasshopper libraries folder. I'm going to just left click, hold, and drag this TT Toolbox folder over here. And I'm going to just right go into the TT Toolbox folder, right click on one of them, go to properties, and just make sure nothing is blocked. And it doesn't appear that it is because we don't have a message here. If any of these were blocked, if the first one you looked at was blocked, then it's likely that the other ones are also blocked, and you'll need to right click on all of them, go to properties, and select unblock. But that's only if you forgot to unblock it when it was zipped. Okay, so I've dragged the TT Toolbox folder over to libraries, not the TT underscore toolbox underscore 1-9 folder. This TT Toolbox folder was inside of that folder. Moved it over here. Okay. So that actually installs everything we need. We can check that it was installed properly by going to Rhino. So I'm just going to open up my Rhino. And I'm going to type grasshopper in the command line up here. So start typing grasshopper and hit enter. This will load the grasshopper plugin. Now, this is the grasshopper window. I've maximized it, and you can see that there are tabs over here. These tabs are basically different libraries of components. It's a way to kind of organize all of the components based on the plugin that they're associated with. And you should be seeing some tabs up here that correspond to what we downloaded. You should see the HB-energy tab. You should see a ladybug tab. You should see a honeybee tab. And you should see an HB-radiance tab. All of those came from the Ladybug Tools download. Then you should see a human tab. That came from the human download. And you should see a TT Toolbox tab. I might have more tabs than you do, which is totally fine. I've downloaded additional plugins that we probably won't use for this class, but you should have, at a minimum, those tabs. So the TT Toolbox, human, honeybee, ladybug, HB-energy, and HB-radiance. Cool, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next homework video.